Long before European powers divided Africa among themselves, the Kingdom of Dahomey stood as one of the most powerful states in West Africa. Located in what is now Benin, Dahomey was feared by its enemies and respected by its allies. Its armies were disciplined, its rulers were powerful, and among its most famous warriors were the women soldiers the world would later call the Dahomey Amazons. But by the late 1800s, a new threat had arrived. European empires were racing to take control of Africa. Among them was France. What began as trade and diplomacy soon turned into demands for territory and power. Many African rulers submitted, but one king refused. His name was Behanzin. Behanzin became king of Dahomey in 1890. From the beginning, he made his position clear. Dahomey would remain independent. No foreign power would rule his people. No foreign flag would fly over his kingdom. For the French, this was unacceptable. For Behanzin, surrender was unthinkable. Tensions quickly escalated. French forces expanded deeper into the region. Disputes turned into battles. Battles turned into war. Despite being heavily outgunned, Dahomey's warriors fought fiercely. Among them were the famous female regiments who charged directly into enemy fire. Again and again, they resisted. But courage alone could not stop modern weapons. As the war continued, French forces pushed closer to the capital city of Dahomey. Behanzin knew what was coming. The kingdom was losing ground. The French would soon enter the heart of Dahomey. And then he faced a decision that would define his legacy forever. If the French captured Dahomey, they would seize everything: the royal palaces, the treasures, the symbols of Dahomey's power, the history of his people. Behanzin refused to let that happen. So he gave an extraordinary order. The city would burn. Palaces were set on fire. Buildings were destroyed. Smoke rose over the kingdom. Flames consumed centuries of history. The capital of Dahomey became an inferno. Not because the French destroyed it, but because its own king chose destruction over surrender. When French troops finally entered Dahomey, they found a city scarred by fire. Behanzin had denied them the victory they wanted. They could occupy the land, but they could not claim the kingdom in the way they had imagined. Eventually, Behanzin was captured and exiled far from his homeland. His kingdom fell under French colonial rule. But his story did not disappear. For many people, Behanzin became a symbol of resistance, a ruler who refused to submit, a king who chose sacrifice over humiliation. Today, the ruins of Dahomey still stand as reminders of that struggle, and the name Behanzin remains remembered as one of Africa's fiercest defenders against colonial conquest. Because when faced with the loss of everything he held sacred, he made a choice few rulers in history would ever dare make. He burned his own kingdom. To some, he destroyed a city. To others, he protected a nation's dignity. But more than a century later, King Behanzin's final decision is still debated today. If this story moved you, subscribe to The Hidden Record, because the history they buried is the history worth knowing.